Today we check out the tech tree version of a tank that tortured me, the Mauerbreaker, and this one is of course the tech tree, the VK1001P, and this vehicle is not fun at all to play because it is in essence a super heavy vehicle leading up to the Maus on the tech tree, of course the tier 8, and this is horrible because not only is it super heavy, which means it's super slow, that's basically Wargaming's word for being super slow, it supposedly has armour, but remember this is World of Tanks console, everyone fires premium, everyone knows where to hit everyone, it's got a giant cupola on the top of it, it's got a giant lower plate on the bottom of it, and so yeah, it's painful to say the least, but we've got two insane gameplays and that's what I was after. I really wanted to make this tank work and luckily we did, so we're going to showcase exactly how this tank works and how you can even have great games in a vehicle like this where maybe you just wouldn't have thought it would be possible or it would be very, very difficult for you to do so. So without further ado, let's have a look. So number one, as with the recent meta that I've been trying to do and just basically see whether using premium ammo seriously does impact your gameplay, I have decided to. I've got a ton of silver on my account and we'll actually be looking to do a silver video where we showcase how to earn a ton of silver and basically go through and try and grind out like 20 million silver in as short a period as possible. But regardless of that, what you're seeing here is us holding off the one flank that's left open by our team because essentially our team just have decided not to go here, which is one of the kind of critical areas of the map because if you lose this area you then lose the ability to use the central areas to get shots into people that are also in a similar position on the enemy side, and that is on the beach area. Of course you can shoot from this area to the beach and hopefully we won't have to deal too much with that. So we can poke against the T2065. Remember this is a top tier game, and so the armour actually works a little bit if people don't know about the big cupola weak point, which trust me like 99% of people do, so it doesn't usually work all too well. But what you can do is kind of bait people into trying to YOLO you can bait people into shooting the upper plate, and so you can come out with a nice result. Now we do try and actually hit the stone cold, and in doing so someone's spamming heat at the back because of course they are, and I'm starting to think, oh, this was a very, very bad idea. My repair speed of my tracks is pretty decent, but they seem to be going for it every single time, and now I'm stuck permanently tracked, and now there's a Jagdtiger who's just pulled up. And of course we place a round into him. If he was smart he probably would have continued to farm me and then pull back, but thankfully for us he didn't do that, and so we actually place a round into him and get away without taking any damage from him. Now then, so typically, I mean, it wouldn't be usual for you to be able to hold off an entire flank with most tanks because remember in this game we've been able to block nearly 2,500 damage within this replay so far, and that means that yes, most tanks would have already been taken out within this amount of hits that I've received, especially in that situation where we got permanently tracked. The T44 on the enemy team tries to YOLO. Have no idea what was going through his brain, but obviously trying to YOLO a near full health heavy tank in your medium tank on a one shot was not the smartest idea whatsoever. The Holland Hund on the enemy team was actually a really, really good player, and we saw him in both this replay and the very next game, which is the next replay that you're going to see. So it was definitely interesting to play up against him. Vogel Frieser, I don't know how you pronounce it, but yeah, I've probably butchered it. But nonetheless, we're just pushing the Jagdtiger out to try and give us a little bit of cover if anyone wants to hit the lower plate. We obviously know that there's a Borsig over here, and we don't particularly want to take a hit from him, but nonetheless, he hits us on the move and pens, of course, because why the hell not? Now, there's two TDs, both of them over this side, we already knew about it, as well as a Stone Cold that's decided, you know what, it would be such a fantastic idea to YOLO us. So we give him a little nudge, which takes his hit points down to the point at which we could one-shot him or finish him off with the next shell. He obviously has no idea what's going on or what day of the week it is, and we finish him off and send him back to the garage where he probably belongs. Then in this game, We then move forward to try and find out where the Borsig is. Now, trying to find out where the Borsig is never a fun option in the game, so we're going to try and progress forward and figure out what we need to do. Now then, there's a Borsig, there's an M56 Scorpion. I'm deciding, you know what, I've got HE, and the HE in this tank is pretty nice. Now we saw that the bush fell down over there, so you see me angling towards the Borsig slightly. I know that the M56 is behind there, and I'm also pinging to my teammate to let him know that there are 2 tanks in 2 different postcodes. If he can even register that, I have no idea, but that was my intention anyway. And of course, loading the HE against a tank that literally has about 10 armor. Yeah, we don't actually manage to pen, but don't worry, because in the next shell, regardless of his trying to move out the way, he doesn't manage to do that, and we hit him for a lovely amount of damage. Now we're up to 4,297 damage done within this result, and also blocked a ton of damage at the same time, and got a little bit of assistance as well. So we've blocked over, well, it's coming up to nearly 2 times the hit points of our vehicle within this one game, and also got a lovely 600 assistance. We place a really, really nice HE round into the Borsig. We then try and angle towards the Borsig, and I give him a little nudge because he's not a one-shot for us at this period in time. He's already fired, and of course we managed to reload, finish him off with the HE round, which enables us to get more damage. I believe you get up to like 560 alpha with the HE. The standard alpha is 440 with the VK1001P, but nonetheless we come top with 2,118 base experience, which is a fantastic result for this heavy. And the enemy Hollenhund manages to come second in a victory, or in a defeat for him, and in a victory for my team. And we pick up 15,000 experience within this game, which is perfect because we were going towards the Mauer Breaker, and luckily we did manage to get it at this point after this video's been done and after we've ground out a few more games. Yes, we have got the Mauer Breaker, and I will be working my way towards the Mauers very, very shortly. Moving from one outstanding game straight into the next, and this was literally the very next game in the Mauer Breaker, or the VK1001P even. I keep calling it the Mauer Breaker, that's just because it's just a meme at this point, but you can see here one of the painful things, and I haven't really touched on it, and although these gameplays are showcasing the best of the VK1001P, where everything seems to go right, where you're able to actually bounce a few rounds, where things don't end up being so bad, there's still some lackluster aspects, and that is typically the traverse speed of this tank. If a light tank finds you and you're not able to aim 100%, or you miss your shot, or whatever it is, or maybe you're obstructed from being able to shoot them, you're basically a light tank stream, and they just come around, they'll just pump you, they'll out traverse you, and there's really nothing that you can do because the turret traverse is so bad, and the speed of the whole traverse is terrible as well. And then you've also got the fact that you only go like 22 kilometers an hour, so trying to move out of the way when going forwards is impossible. And if you think about trying to get out of the way moving backwards, yeah, it would take you 5 weeks to actually reverse out of the way. So this is the problem with all of these super heavy tanks, and why I absolutely despise playing heavy tanks. I'm literally doing this video entirely for you guys, so that you guys can understand the Maus and the other vehicles in the tech tree line, and just so I have every single vehicle in the game, because at the minute that's what I'm grinding towards, getting every single tier 10 in World of Tanks console, so you guys can understand all of them, and so we can do a comprehensive guide as to all of the different tech trees. And actually I'm working on a tech tree series that we were doing at the moment. So we've done the full American tech tree line in a recent video. We've also then done the Swedish tech tree line, so every single tank explained from tier 5 and upwards, I believe. The low tier tanks I don't bother with because, let's be honest, no one really cares about a tier 3 vehicle. But outside of that, the key thing is that we're going to compile them all into one gigantic video at the end. So they're all going to be small videos, and then we'll make a whole holistic thing with all timestamps. So you'll be able to go to exactly the tech tree line that you're grinding. So if you want the Maus, you'll be able to move towards that. Now I feel like I've kind of taken over this video with that, but the key thing is that whilst we've been talking about that, we've literally just arrived at the front line, so it's taken nearly 2 minutes of the in-game time, or nearly 3 minutes at this point, to be able to get to where we are, and finally we can start dishing out some damage. Of course, you saw earlier in this game, as we were moving towards this position, constantly moving as well, no stopping really, we did manage to hit the Goronech earlier, and we're also now ploughing rounds into the Tiger 1. Now, I know that there are some things that a lot of people do not like about the VKP, and that might be the accuracy and the aim time, because yes, it can be a little bit annoying when you are sat there aiming for 4 seconds or however long it might be, and you then end up missing. But remember, the key thing about vehicles like this is that you do fully aim, because you shouldn't be just YOLOing shells in, because yes, it might work some of the time, but if it doesn't, you can definitely feel a little bit bitter when that happens. But nonetheless, we try and place a round into the HMH. I'm pretty surprised that didn't pen. And then the Freedom, thinking he's a big Chad or whatever you want to call him, decides to come around. I obviously then am not fully aiming. I'm having an absolute nightmare here. The M44 and the enemy teams decided he's going to try and pen me with with heat even. We put a round into the Freedoms, or the Super Pershing skinned version for the American, like Independence Day or 4th of July or whatever. But yeah, we place a round into the turret of the Super Pershing, then we try and go for the lower plate of the HMH, and it's just constantly missing. And this is something you will find with this vehicle in some of the games, just everything keeps going wrong, and you have to keep kind of plodding through, just trying to make it work. But unfortunately, it's not the case in this game, where we're just missing round after round. But nonetheless, it picks up as we go through, and we actually make some good decisions as we kind of go forward within this game. The M44 on the enemy team has been taken out by our light tank, which is nice, I believe. And then this HMH is still focusing us. We're now going to go for a shot into the lower plate. Of course it bounces. I'm really having trouble with this AMX, which is surprising because that vehicle doesn't typically have the best armor in the world. He then gets finished off by a tier 6. Now it's time to progress towards the Ziska, the tank destroyer that's also over here, and also the Goronech that we hit at the beginning of the game, who is still on the same amount of hit points. The M56 then is in a position to try and hit us. We've got the Hollenhund, who is also the same guy from the first game, who was actually a good player. Obviously tried to go for the M56, looks like it went through the little gap on his turret for some reason, but at this point we're just trying to get some shells into all of these vehicles. We then place one straight into the Ziska, taking away like half of his hit points, and that's always satisfying when you're taking away such big chunks of the opponent's hit points. The IS can't get the gun depression to hit the lower plate, which is the weak point of this vehicle, and that's unfortunate for him, but absolutely lovely for us, because it means we can just place round after round. The Hollenhund here trying to get a shell into us, but it's very difficult to auto-aim this tank, which is kind of nice, because most tanks in the game is just basically easy to auto-aim. But yeah, at this point, it's just a case of going after the IS-2 and just YOLOing him at this point, firing on the move. We can then angle towards him, which makes it hard for him to hit that lower plate if he even aims for it. Don't know why he was aiming for the side of the vehicle. Never aim at the angled side if someone is shooting you, because it's just not going to work. The Goronech then is in the open field, so we sit here, we go for the shell into the back of the vehicle, and we bounce. Of course we bounce off the back of the Goronech. Perfect. And you could have seen that within this game, if we did actually manage to hit all of the shells that we had, and we did actually manage to pen a lot of them, we'd probably be on 6,000, maybe 6,500 at this point. Place one final round into the Jagdpanther 4, and then he gets shut down, giving us a little bit of assistance due to spotting, which is probably something you never see in the VK. But nonetheless, a victory, and one that grants us nearly the same amount of base experience, 2,076, 4 enemies taken out and 5,500 damage done. Really, really, really good game. And of course, picking up another 15,000 XP within this result. I believe we were using 4 times XP boosters when doing this. So of course, that does help out massively. But yeah, really happy about trying to grind my way towards the Malshan at that point. And of course, that 30,000 XP in just 2 games, which is really nice. And of course, coming top, and the Holland on the enemy team also coming top again. But unfortunately for him, he didn't win either of them. But fortunately for us, we showcased off this super heavy vehicle. I did enjoy playing it, but it was very infuriating in the games where your team either steamroll and then you're left there kind of high and dry, just sat just moving for the entire game, and it's very boring. Or alternatively, you go to one flank, realise that there's only one vehicle on your team there, and then the enemy team just swamp you, and then it's basically curtains within the first 3 minutes of the game, or whatever it might be. So it can be a little bit frustrating, to say the least. But in these games, it makes it all worthwhile, and hopefully this video has given you a good indication as to the VK1001P, and how even in some of the kind of most underrated / worst tanks in the game, you can still have fantastic results like this one and come out feeling not that bad about having to grind out 170,000 XP just for the next tank when fully upgraded. Of course, nearly 270,000 XP in total. Other than that, I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe for more, and don't forget to check out some of the other videos where we showcase the tier 10 premiums that I've been focusing on within the reviews recently. So have a look at those will be on screen right now, and I hope you join me there. Goodbye.